Welcome back to the deep dive. We sift through the research you send our way, trying to find those nuggets of knowledge that really matter. And today, we're tackling something that trips up a lot of people. Android TV versus Google TV. What's the actual difference?
Oh yeah, it's a classic tech naming puzzle, isn't it? You see both names everywhere, TVs, streaming sticks, sometimes even from the same company. It's really easy to think they're basically the same thing, maybe just a software update difference or something minor.
Exactly. But looking through the sources you've gathered, it's clear that, well, while they share some DNA, the actual experience is pretty different. So our mission today is to unpack that. You've got the Core OS, Android TV, and then this newer layer, Google TV, built right on top.
Right. And maybe the biggest takeaway right off the bat is that Google TV isn't like a whole new operating system replacing Android TV. It's really an evolution of it. Think of it like, I don't know, completely redesigning your kitchen, but keeping the house's original foundation. The core is still there.
Okay, good analogy. Let's start with that foundation then. Android TV. It's been around a while, right? Since 2014.
Yeah, 2014, that's the underlying OS, the engine that makes the TV smart. It's built on standard Android, which is why it's on so many devices, millions of them. Sony TVs, TCL, Hisense, even things like the NVIDIA Shield. It basically lets the device run apps and connect to the internet.
And its interface is, well, it's functional.
Yeah.
Very row-based, horizontal rows. You turn it on, you see your apps, Netflix, Hulu, YouTube, whatever. Maybe some suggested content within those apps and other rows, but it's very app-centric.
Absolutely. The focus is getting you into an app.
Oh.
Its main features, the Google Play Store for getting apps, Google Assistant for basic voice stuff, Chromecast built in. It's all geared towards launching and controlling those specific applications. It works, but you kind of have to know where you want to look first.
Okay, then fast forward to 2020. Google TV arrives, first seen on that new Chromecast with Google TV device. So if it's not a replacement OS, what is Google TV?
It's essentially a new user interface, a new experience layer sitting on top of Android TV. You could almost call it Android TV version 2.0 in terms of the user experience. The whole point was to shift away from focusing just on apps and instead focus on the content itself, the movies, the shows. It's a total visual makeover.
Right. So same engine underneath, same Play Store for apps, but what you actually interact with, what you see, is totally different. And that leads us straight to what seems like the biggest difference: finding stuff to watch, content discovery.
Yes, exactly. That's where Google TV really shines. The UI design is the most obvious change. Android TV has those, straightforward horizontal rows of apps. Google TV has this more modern dashboard. It's organized into tabs like For You, Movies, Shows, Apps, and Library.
And that For You tab, that's the key, isn't it? That's where the smarts, the machine learning really come into play to tackle like streaming overload.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Think about it. On Android TV, if you want to see what's new in sci-fi, you kind of have to open Netflix, look around, close it, open Prime Video, look around. They're like separate silos. Google TV tries to break those down. It learns what you watch across all your services, the ones you subscribe to, maybe even ones you don't yet, and pulls recommendations together in that one For You feed.
So instead of me thinking, okay, time to check Netflix, I just think, what documentary should I watch? And the TV shows me options from everywhere at once. That sounds like a huge improvement, a real time saver.
It really is.
Yeah.
And the machine learning part is important because it's not just showing you popular stuff. It's actively trying to guess what you specifically might like based on genres you watch, actors, stuff like that. It's Google trying to, help you find value in all those subscriptions you're paying for, all in one spot.
Okay, and then there's this other feature people rave about, the universal watch list. This seems like a game changer for how we track things we want to see. How does that work?
The watch list is super useful, especially because we find stuff everywhere now, right? On our phones, computers. So let's say you're reading a movie review on your phone, maybe on your commute. You can tap a button in Google Search or use the Google TV app on your phone to add that movie to your watch list.
And then, poof, when I turn on my TV later, it's just there in the library tab.
Yeah, exactly. And here's the really clever bit. It shows up, even if you don't have the app for that streaming service installed yet. The system knows the movie exists and where it's available. Android TV just doesn't have that kind of built-in, cross-device, system-wide watch list. It's limited by its app-first design.
Wow, okay. That really does change things. It makes the TV feel more connected to everything else you do. But speaking of personalization, it's not just about recommendations, is it? There's the whole issue of multiple people using the same TV profiles.
Oh, definitely. Profiles are a big deal if you share your TV. Google TV brought in proper system-wide user profiles, so everyone in the house can have their own login. That means separate watch histories, separate watch lists, and crucially, separate recommendations. No more messing up each other's suggestions.
Which solves a very common household problem. We've all been there, right? You watch one kid's show and suddenly your whole feed is cartoons for weeks. With Android TV, you often have to rely on profiles inside each app if they even offer them, which is just messy.
Exactly. Google TV makes that central. The whole experience feels tailored to whoever's actually holding the remote at that moment.
And does that deeper personalization extend to the voice assistant too? Both have Google Assistant, we know that. But is the assistant on Google TV genuinely better than the basic commands I might use on Android TV?
It's more contextual, I'd say.
Yeah.
Because Google TV has your profile, it knows your subscriptions, what you've watched. The assistant can do more complex things. On Android TV, you might say open Netflix or pause. Basic stuff. On Google TV, you can ask things like, show me comedies starring Maya Rudolph, or even just, what should I watch tonight? It can handle those kinds of discovery questions much better because it's plugged into that whole content aggregation system.
Right, it has more data to work with.
Yeah.
Okay, let's switch gears slightly to the practical side, the logistics. This is important. If Google TV is this much better, can I just, download it onto my existing Android TV, update it myself?
That's the big catch. Unfortunately, no. You can't just manually install Google TV.
Oh.
It's a significant change to the interface and needs an official software update pushed out by the company that made your TV or streaming device. And, well, this is where the Android world gets a bit fragmented.
That is a big catch. So if I bought, say, a smart TV a few years back, maybe from a brand that isn't great with updates, I might just be stuck with the older Android TV interface forever.
That's often the reality, unfortunately. Manufacturers decide if and when to update devices. Older hardware might also just not be powerful enough to run the Google TV interface smoothly. Generally, devices from 2021 onwards had a better chance of getting the update, but it's never guaranteed. Google TV's constant content pulling and personalization does need a bit more processing power. So even if an older device did get the update, it might feel, a little slow.
Okay. So if you're buying maybe a used or a real budget Android TV device now, you basically have to assume you're getting the classic Android TV experience, not Google TV, unless it explicitly says otherwise or has already been updated. But the good news, at least, is that actual app availability is the same. You can still get Netflix, Disney Plus up, all the big ones on both.
Oh, absolutely. The underlying app store, the Google Play Store for Android TV, is identical. All the same apps work on both platforms. You're not missing out on content, just on that specific Google TV way of discovering and organizing it.
Got it. Which brings us nicely to the wrap-up, putting it all together. What does this mean for you, the listener, if you're shopping or deciding whether your current setup is good enough?
Okay, so if you're buying a new TV or streaming device right now, especially a mid-range or higher one, you should probably lean towards Google TV, particularly if you use, say, 3 or more streaming services. That content aggregation, the personalized profiles, that universal watch list, they genuinely make the experience smoother and less overwhelming.
So Google TV is really for the person juggling multiple services who wants that curated, seamless discovery across different devices.
Exactly. But Android TV isn't suddenly useless. It still had its place. You might prefer Android TV if you actually like that simpler app-first layout. Maybe you find Google's heavy recommendations a bit much. Or if you really only use 1 or 2 main streaming apps, then the fancy aggregation isn't as necessary and the straightforward rows are perfectly fine.
And, like you mentioned, budget is a factor. Some entry-level devices might still only offer Android TV because it's less demanding on the hardware. So if cost is the absolute primary driver, Android TV might be what you end up with, and it'll still work well for basic streaming.
Right. But the overall trend, the bottom line, is that Google TV is clearly where Google sees the future of its TV platform heading. It addresses that big pain point of finding something to watch when your content is scattered everywhere. Android TV is still supported, still functional, but expect to see less of it on new models over time.
So it really boils down to that experience layer. Google TV adds that intelligence, that personalization, on top of the same Android foundation, driven heavily by machine learning to make viewing easier.
Yes, and that machine learning focus actually leads us to an interesting final thought to leave people with. Since Google TV gets so good at predicting and showing you exactly what it thinks you want to watch, it kind of creates this perfect personalized bubble, doesn't it? So the question becomes, does this super streamlined system, while convenient, maybe make us less likely to stumble upon something completely random and unexpected? something outside our usual taste. By making it so easy to find the familiar, are we perhaps losing a bit of that serendipity, that joy of discovering something totally new by chance? It's something to think about with these powerful algorithms shaping our choices.
That's a fascinating point. Does efficiency come at the cost of exploration? Definitely something to mull over. Well, thank you for clearing up the Android TV versus Google TV confusion. A really helpful deep dive. We'll catch you next time.